I'm coming to you from the final day, Friday, of the Baltimore-Washington Conference's 2024 annual conference session. As you can see, folks are beginning to arrive for praise and worship. Music begins at 8:15, and then we'll hear from Dr. Carla Works for Bible study again at 8:30. I wanted to show you a cool space here at annual conference. It's a kind of a quiet nursing area and a kids corner with toys. Okay, so worship is starting. So I'm going to actually step outside to give you a little bit of an update about the rest of what we got done yesterday. So we met yesterday for a long day. If you were following my updates from General Conference, then you know that most days, except for Saturday, we actually finished by 6:30. That's actually a rule that we have with General Conference. But and Saturday was allowed to be the long day. We went long. But yesterday, we went until 9:30. We were scheduled to go until 9. I'm going to show you the ballpark in the back. It's going to backlight me a little bit, so I'll see the Camden Yards. I'll turn a little bit so I'm not so backlit. And then so we went till 9:30 and then moved to karaoke. So maybe you'll see pictures, video. You may see a picture of me joining a couple of my fellow DSs as we did a karaoke yesterday. So we had a very productive day. We got through legislation. I posted a text update midday. Essentially, all of the resolutions except one was approved. So if you're following the submitted resolutions, the one opposing a Maryland state constitutional amendment to protect women's reproductive rights, that one was not approved by the annual conference, but all of the other resolutions were approved. In our business, we also received the presentation of the delegation's endorsed candidate for Episcopal consideration, Reverend Dr. Amy McCullough, and no additional nominees were lifted up. So today, the annual conference will be voting whether or not to officially endorse Reverend Dr. McCullough in the context of, as Bishop Easterling and our delegation chairs, Reverend Dr. Ianther Mills and Cynthia Taylor, sharing that it is unlikely, as Bishop Easterling said, in the unlikely event that there might be elections, given the action we took and what we know from General Conference about limiting the number of bishops in the United States to 32, which is a number that we expect to get to through natural attrition, the bishops that are required to retire. And then, of course, some swapping of bishops. And you can check out my General Conference videos for more. Also in our business, yesterday we approved the budget and all the recommendations from our Conference Council on Finance and Administration. We approved an amended recommendation from the Equitable Compensation Committee. That's the group that sets minimum compensation for clergy. They had recommended a 2% salary increase, and the body amended that to be a 3%, which the chair of that committee, when asked, said was probably about a $500 a year difference. We also heard the standard recommendations from pension and health benefits, and those were approved. In the evening session, we also received the recommendation, just the one piece around the restructuring task force work that requires annual conference approval, and that is to move from 8 districts to 6 districts, July 1, 2025. And so as Bishop Easterling and others explained during the presentation around that, much of the other things, well, really all of the other things that you've heard around restructuring hubs and when we have, making districts non-geographical, all of those things, those are pieces, and the number of district superintendents and how district superintendents are deployed. Some of the model talks about DSs, some being missional and some being administration and maybe having shared coverage for different purposes. All of that doesn't require annual conference approval. The only thing that annual conference was required to vote on, was the number of bishops. And so last night, after a lot of questions and discussions and a lot of questions that still exist as we live into this, so that change was approved as well. So today, again, worship is already underway, and just shortly at 8:30, Reverend Dr. Carla Wirtz will be leading our Friday morning Bible study. And then we will get into business to move through the remaining items that we have. We only have plenary through this morning because we then move to ordination this afternoon as we celebrate those being commissioned and ordained. You can follow along the live stream if you're at home. You can go to the conference's YouTube page to see all of the things that we have done before, including laity session. Clergy session was not live streamed and recorded, but laity session is there as well. And so we look forward to a wonderful day. If you're here at annual conference, you may see some folks wearing red. That is not required, but many folks do that on ordination. Certainly clergy will be wearing red stoles, those full members, as we process and go in for ordination. So I hope if you're here, you'll come join us for a Bible study, and we look forward to continuing the work